It's been a while since Gina Carano announced that she was taking Disney to court over the way they treated her, over the way she was fired. She said, you know what? This is illegal. It's bullshit. And we're going to court over it. And all along the way, Disney has tried to get out of it. They've tried to get the case dismissed. They tried to get it thrown out. They've tried to suppress everything they could. And even just a few days ago, we got the news that Gina Carano's lawyers were forced to submit another motion because Disney wasn't playing by the rules. Disney didn't want to turn over discovery, right? Gina Carano accuses Disney of stonewalling as trial date delayed to 2026. Motion to compel filed after 8 months of reported deflection and stalling. Disney doesn't want to turn over discovery. They don't want them looking at the books. They don't want to turn over the stuff that they were legally required to turn over. Surprise, surprise. Well, until yesterday, when the news came out that, in fact, the judge says, Disney, you're full of shit. Hand over the stuff you're supposed to hand over. And again, it did result in the trial probably being delayed, like we said, into 2026. But it does look like Gina Carano and her lawyers are going to get their hands on what they wanted. Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days. I know you talked about this, Jay.
Yeah, 20 days. They want the pay. That's her attorney down there. They want the pay sheets of Pedro, Rosario, and other Disney Plus Star Wars shows. So maybe we'll find out what Amandla made in The Acolyte. Things like that. Some of these numbers that they just kind of throw out there, the lawyers are going to get. So we'll find for certain exactly what exactly. I don't know if I don't think this is released to the public as of yet. That's just something that goes to the lawyers for the case. So of course they were just trying to drag their feet and thinking that this would probably go away, or they were, for me, again, people might ask, Jay, Gina does not talk to me about this case whatsoever. We never ever brought it up. It was she's under like hush hush, while this was going on. But it just seems like they're trying to drag this out until they could find a judge that would throw it out, something along those lines. Or maybe they could find something else that they could use to get it thrown out. So it doesn't have to go into a discovery mode where all these numbers that I'm positive they don't want out. I'm pretty sure Pedro Pascal doesn't want his salary numbers out there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care. I don't know.
So they're looking for, again, the entire point is, hey, you guys fired me. Shouldn't have been allowed to fire me that way. It was bullshit. And this is all the stuff I missed out on because of the way that I was treated by this company, because this company fired me, when they've clearly not held other people to the same standard at this company. So how much compensation did I lose out on? So they're looking at a variety of different people, right? People from Mandalorian, people from Book of Boba Fett. This includes Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, Amanda Stenberg, Diego Luna for Andor, right? And they're going through all of that stuff. Now, one thing that I don't believe they have their hands on yet, but still is open to possibilities depending on what they see in these pay files. This could open up potential profits and losses for different shows, how much they spent on different shows and how much they've concluded they've profited or lost off those shows. That, as of yet, is not green light go. That's kind of yellow light. Like, hey, you don't get it right away, but depending on what you find and depending on what your experts that look at this feel like you need more context for, then you argue that to court. If we get to see that, oh boy, that would be interesting, wouldn't it, Jay?
Yeah, we'll see how much they've lied about certain profits and exactly how profit margin, things like that, for all these shows, and probably how much of a failure these shows have been, just judging by the viewership and stuff like that, compared to the amount of money they've spent. So it's not surprising. Again, shocking, Ryan. I'm not a lawyer, or am I in the law profession? If they refuse to give everything over in these 20 days, are they just looking at like a major fine? Probably. or something along those lines? Like, what could the judge do?
Well, I think that the 20 days, from what I read in the filing, the 20 days can be extended if both parties are still like working in good faith and maybe they just couldn't get this there yet. And they don't think it's like a scheme or whatever. So it could take a little more than 20 days maybe for some of the stuff. But again, if they don't hand it over, it's going to be another problem. And I don't know exactly what that would entail. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I giving anyone legal advice either. But Disney must produce the actor compensation records within 20 days of the order. The documents must include verified spreadsheets, not vague summaries or cherry-picked numbers. The scope includes The Mandalorian, other Disney Plus Star Wars series, and the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu film. If more records are needed, Carano's lawyers can ask for additional evidence after reviewing what Disney hands over.
So if they need that stuff from the film, does that mean that she might have been supposed to be in the movie?
That's the argument, right? Because that's the entire crux of this, is if everything had gone according to what they had planned out and what their inclusion would be, right? She would have been in Mandalorian season 3. She might have made an appearance in this, probably in the Mando and Grogu movie. Like, those are the questions that get answered. And those are the things you're arguing when you're saying, hey, look how much this cost me when they fired me this way. You know, here's the thing. The 20-day timeline is strict, but parties can agree to modify it as long as it doesn't violate the trial schedule. So,
I mean, Disney didn't do them any favors with the likes of Rachel Zegler, Mark Hamill, and others that they have employed when they let them, and Mark Ruffalo is another one. Not with he's with the MCU. He's not with Lucasfilm, but still, it's still under Disney when they let these people post whatever they want politically and still hire them for their movies and things like that. Because that's what it all came down to, was a post, which she turned out to be right, by the way, that was on an Instagram story that wasn't on Twitter. But she was questioning masks, things like that. But it all came down to like that Holocaust post that she put on her Instagram story that lasted 24 hours that somebody screenshotted, of course, and used that to get her fired. But then you have people like Rachel Zegler, which they let her do whatever she wants, and other celebrities that are under the Disney umbrella. So I can't see how Disney wins this. Anything's possible in court of law, but I just don't see how they make out good on this. It just seems like they're stalling to try to get it thrown out.
Everything they've argued and everything they've tried has got shot down.
Yeah.
Right.
Shut down quickly too. Like, that's the thing.
And even though the media, remember when this first happened, the media was like, Gina Carano stands no chance in this.
Chance. They laughed at her. They laughed, man. They were laughing at her.
Essentially. And look, I've said from the beginning that I think it's going to be a very tall task to go through this entire process and win against a company like Disney. Ironic, right? Using California's ridiculous laws in some case against this company, which I think 100% is the right thing to do. It's going to be interesting to see how this ends up. I think the odds were against her from the beginning, going up and fighting a company like Disney for something like this. But we'll see what happens, man. It's been going really well for her, despite Disney doing everything in their power to try to obfuscate, to try to get away from it, to try to stall, to delay, to hide shit, to cover shit up. But the case keeps marching forward.
Yeah, they lose all their appeals. You think there's someone secretly in the back shredding files? Like Goofy's back there, and they're all shredding files with Grogu. We got a few more months, man. Keep get rid of those emails. Put them next to Hillary's emails.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I'm being sarcastic. I'm just saying.
With they could just be like, oh, we couldn't find them. Sorry, they must have got deleted off the hard drive. That looks pretty shady as fuck if they were to come out and say we can't find them.
Bro, it's crazy because
I think Disney has some legitimate arguments that they're making in terms of, hey, these things are very closely held. Like if I were them, the reason I would argue not to reveal the profits and losses because, hey, the profits and losses have nothing to do with that. That's beyond the scope of what they're looking for. She wouldn't be compensated the same way as this person. So that's not, those are the arguments I would make, even if I didn't know if they were going to be winners or not. That's just kind of what you have to do. And they've tried all that and it has not worked so far.
I've said this from day one. The easy out for them is Bob Iger, whatever, and saying that was under Bob Chapek. I wasn't here when that happened, and he made a terrible misjudgment in handling this whole thing. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why they brought me back in, you know, so stuff like this didn't happen. They just pass the blame to someone who's not there anymore. It's a simple, but I guess he'd have to throw KK under the bus too.
Well, look, that could be a public relations out for them, but it's not a legal out. It doesn't matter if somebody else was running the company, you know, 5 years ago. It's still the same company. You're still responsible for, the company is still responsible for the actions that those people took, even if those same parties aren't necessarily there anymore. So legally, it's not really an out.